Hi everyone, welcome back to Dwarf Fortress, the Dwarf Fortress tutorial, and the Brightmines. I'm Sir Tristan. At the end of the last episode, we got our cage traps all set up in a nice, neat little row. And I did not have time to explain what that was about, so today I will. But real quick, let's jump over to Dwarf Therapist, and I'd like to welcome Humane Cho? Humane Choi? I'm not sure who, but someone else requested a name. And I've decided that my mechanics guy, or is that girl? Mechanics person? Guy, will be the new request, Humane Cho. So welcome to the fort. I hope you don't die. Or I hope I don't do something to kill you. Alright, so we're just going to unpause. We're going to let the fort run for a little bit. There's lots of dwarves coming in and out. As you can see, there's lots of them still using this highway, or this entryway here. And especially cats as well, going in and out. So the reason why I put cage traps here and not say right here is because kobolds, the first kind of creatures that invade your fort, are invisible until they are on top of or next to a square that a dwarf or cat or some kind of creature, basically, is standing next to. And so I'm leaving this running so you can see there's still a lot of dwarves and cats and things like that. Look at this guy, this cat right here. He's a legendary climber, apparently. But this cat has been coming in and out almost constantly. So what this means is that a kobold will perhaps run into someone, and usually when they run into someone, they get scared and they immediately turn around and they run off. But let's just say, for argument's sake, a kobold snuck in and there was no one here. And he comes down and he's like, oh, here's a chicken. And he tries to steal the chicken and he drags him up. If at any point a dwarf or anything on their way out see him, so let's say they see him back here, he'll get caught in the cage trap as he tries to flee. If he gets caught out here somewhere, he's just going to turn and run off. That's fine. Mostly I just want to keep them out for now. This is not a solid means of defense at all. I'm going to have to expand this pretty drastically once the time comes. But right now, if we jump back to Dwarf Fortress, I basically don't have any. Remember, the 3 red marks here are children. I can't do anything with them. But of my second, and really this was kind of just bad luck to get so many children at once. And if you really wanted to, you could actually turn that off in Dwarf Therapist. You could turn down how many children are allowed in your fort. If you set that to 0, then none will show up. But, yeah, the 3 adults that came in my first migrant wave are already have tasks. And because of that, I'm almost in kind of a wait pattern now. Everything in the fort is going really well so far. So, what is this going on over here? There's like something floating around. You see this? What is this thing? Twigs. I'm gonna press U, and we'll go to others. Those are the merchants. I have no idea what the crazy things are happening down here. Who knows? Hopefully they don't bother me. But yes, right now I'm in very much of a wait pattern at the moment. There's a bunch of stuff that I'm kind of waiting on. New migrant waves would be one thing. That's probably the biggest thing, honestly, that I'm waiting on. Let's take a look at our bedrooms. Bedrooms are getting carved out quite nicely. We could probably go ahead and start adding some doors. BD for build doors. And if you remember, because of workflow, I kind of have a constant stream of a few doors. So I can just go ahead and place them. We should be able to place a bed right here. Lots of beds, really. Here, place a bed here. Might as well go through this. We'll place beds everywhere. This will eventually be my main floor. My main sleeping floor, that is. There we go, because the surface is just too dangerous. And this is getting carved out. This is room for, how many did I make? Like 20, 25 or so different bedrooms. And then these are going to be more offices for the future. Beds and doors getting made. Workflow, you can see right there. I'm in A with the announcements menu. And as always, remember, I forget to say this sometimes, but you can always turn annotations on the YouTube video to see important keystrokes, and I'll remember to add them later on if you're new and you want to know what the keystrokes are that I'm pressing for important things. But You can see because I've laid down those beds and that door, that workflow is continuing production. So that is great. There's lots of other stuff that I could be doing, I think, while I'm waiting, but I kind of need dwarves for those. And I don't want to take dwarves that I already have working on something and tell them to stop, basically. Let's see, did I do a gem work pile? I feel like I did somewhere. I think it's bars and blocks, but let me look through here real quick. Because I'm discovering... Oh, there's a gem stockpile. I'm discovering some gems, and again, you can see that in the announcement. I struck pinfire opals, and those are going to be down at the bedroom floor. Right there, you can see them probably sitting right there. Yeah, rough pinfire opals. And eventually I can turn those into encrusted gems, or refined gems, and I can encrust them on different things to increase an item value. Yeah, but pretty much just kind of in a waiting pattern. So I probably won't cover anything too specific. I'll tell you what, one thing I can do, now that I have all those stockpiles, you can see, here's my starting wagon. And it's got a few things still sitting in the wagon, some rope, a bucket, a quiver. And this wagon, it initially is your gathering point, right? But I've made a new gathering point. It's the dining room. And then I've made stockpile, so we don't need to store stuff there anymore. So just like any other building, you can actually hit Q and move the cursor to the building, and press X to remove it. And then as you can see in the upper right corner, it's slated for removal and it needs carpentry. So my carpenter, whose name is something, him. Yeah, Coca. Coca is going to remove it, and it will no longer be there. So no dwarf will come out. Let's say, you know, for some reason there happened to be a bucket here, and a dwarf was like, hey, I need a bucket. He's going to run outside to where it might be unsafe. Oh, hey, I was just talking about migrants. What do you know? Look at that. 1, 2, 3, a duck, 4, 5, looks like a child, another child, 6, 7, 8, another child, another child, another child, a donkey. Some kind of a keet. A keet? A bunny rabbit? Oh my god. I think that's it. I think that's it. Let's jump over to Dwarf Fortress. We will read the dwarves again. Whoa, look at that list. So yeah, 4 children. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. So the first thing I like to do is just kind of look at the jobs that they already have coming in. So Zos down here has fishing, fish cleaning, and fish dissection. Well, what do you know? I might keep him as that job. There are my one of 3 children. Sodal here has animal care, animal training, and trapping. Well, goodness, I need one of those as well, so I might keep him as his job as well. Rith over here is a nothinger. Yeah, as far as I can tell, I don't really see... Yeah, he's a peasant, so no exact profession, so okay. Risen is a animal care guy. Trapping and small animal dissection. Truth is trapping and small animal dissection, for the most part, I don't really use that often. But you can, and if that pops up, then we will. Erish is most of the same. Deagle, also most of the same. Deagle again. He can geld animals, lovely. A cook, and beekeeping. And then last but not least, we have a ban up here who is masonry. And that's kind of it. Okay. So that's a lot of dwarves. How many did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 dwarves. Awesome. Well, you know, I'm not exactly prepared to start putting them to work yet. So in this episode, I might not actually do... Wow, look at all those people. They say new arrival. That's why they got the flashing X on them, because they can't be assigned any tasks or anything like that. I guess one thing that I can go ahead and do, I hadn't really planned on, like I said, getting merchants this episode. So I don't really have anything prepared for what I'm gonna do with him, but I can do something with Zos down here. He is really simple. He is a fisherman by profession. 67%. He's really, it looks like that's his top role as well. Let's go ahead and give him a custom nickname. We will call him, oh, I don't know, Kafka. Yay, back to my Final Fantasy obsession. We'll commit to that change. So Kafka is going to be our fisherman. He already has the jobs. And setting a fishing spot should be very familiar to you. Hopefully. We're going to press I to go into zones. We're going to move the zone over here to the river. We're going to make ourselves a fishing zone. And then we're going to press F, make it a fishing zone. So, one thing that I always try to make sure with my fishing zone is that there's one tile or one grouping of tiles that's always on the shore. And you could honestly probably even be safer and make that 2, just to be safe, because if you think about water, 7 is as deep as water can get. So imagine that if each tile were 10 feet tall, 7 depth would be 10 feet of water. Because of that, a dwarf can very easily drown in 7. And I think in general, dwarves are about 3 to 4. I think reading or hearing someone say at some point, and I've never read anything to contradict that, so I'm going with kind of the popular wisdom there, is that dwarves can basically survive and walk around in about 3 to 4 levels of water. But 7, they will straight up drown. So I always want to make sure there's at least a little bit of extra land, and now that I'm saying that, I'm actually going to get rid of this, I think. And then I'm going to add the same zone, but I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger, just to give myself a little bit more leeway. In previous versions, go ahead and hit F again. And you know what, I'll go ahead and hit W again to set it as a water source. I don't expect to run out of booze anytime soon because I have workflow working constantly in the background to make sure that I have booze. But just in case, they will use this as a water source now. So yeah, in previous versions of Dwarf Fortress, it was very possible for like a carp to drag a dwarf, because carps were, I think, bugged and considered to be like huge whale-sized creatures or something like that. And they would just pull dwarves right into the water, basically, and your dwarves would drown. And that's not a problem anymore, really, but I'm still going to be safe. Still going to be safe. So that was a real simple job to set up. All the others that I kind of want to set up are going to take a bit more time. You know, I think what's something else I can do just to prepare, and I'm probably not going to talk about it too much now, but let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and carve out, press D to get to the designations, carve out a bit of a room here. Make it maybe this size, like this. And I picked up a bunch. I'm going to go to pets, press U for units, and then go to pets and livestock. Just take a quick look here. I'm not sure what a keet is. I want to make sure. I'm going to go through this list and make sure that none of these new ones that I got need to be pastured. So let's go to view the unit. V. A small ground-dwelling bird, featherless head, eats seeds and insects. It moves about in groups. Okay, a goat kid. That probably needs to be moved. A bunny probably does not. I think these are new as well. The yak calf and the donkey foal need to be moved, and then these are my existing ones. So let's go up a floor to the top, and then we'll press I to see the zones. This is my pasture, and if you remember from last time, maybe not last time, but a few times ago, I can press N, and you can see that over here on the right there. Shift N. And I can look through the list here. The pluses at the top are ones that are already there. They don't need to be pastured. They're already in the pasture. Dogs, cats, hens, roosters, do not geese, ganders, bunnies, no. The goat kid probably does. And it looks like this one actually has a proper name. So it has probably been adopted by someone or belongs to them. Oh, I'm in the Z, which is status menu here. So Z and press enter because we have animals highlighted here. We'll go down and we will see the goat kid, Zephron, belongs to Rith, the peasant. And then Keet, the little Keet. Unib, the Keet, belongs to Erish, the ranger. Basically what this just means is that you can't use them for certain jobs for one, which they can't really be used for jobs anyway. And if I butcher them for food, then the owners will get very, very mad. Yeah, but I think that was it for the list. I think the donkey should be moved up pretty soon. I think. Press U, take a look. Anybody? Yep. Vaughn is moving the goat up here. He probably has to wait. Oh no, there he goes. Look, you can see actually, remember in the last episode or two, I carved out all those ramps. You can now see he has to walk around. Even though he pulled them out of the fort here, he has to walk around and up. There he goes. In order to pasture him. Nice. He's in the pasture. One less creature I have to worry about starving. And good. I'm caught up on drink production. Yep. Very nice. Very nice. Well, what else can I do for this episode here? I got a few minutes left. Again, I don't want to... oh, look at these. So many people without a job. So many people without a job. I'll have to fix that while I'm off camera, because I don't like just sitting there assigning jobs. And a lot of these people are brand new here. So, actually, you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's just dive right in. Sure. Why not? I have an idea for Aban, our mason. You are no longer going to be a mason. I'm going to turn that off, I think. And I think I'm going to turn on stone detailing. We'll go ahead and right-click set nickname for you. And you can be Kane. Kane, the stone detailer. Commit. Very cool. So I have Kane now as a stone detailer. Stone detailing, and it's a bit of a complicated topic, so I think what I will do is jump to the handy dandy, not my YouTube channel, but to the Dwarf Fortress Rookie stone detailing. And we'll take a quick look at what this has to say. It is a labor used to smooth, engrave, fortification designs. For smooth designations, the dwarf skill simply lowers the amount of time it takes to smooth each tile. Skill is slightly more important for engraved jobs, as engravings have quality modifiers that affect both their architectural value and the effect on the room. Since you need to smooth stone before you engrave it anyway, it's a good strategy to smooth a large area to skill up before engraving your room. Before engraving the rooms you need engraving. So that didn't have nearly as much information as I was hoping, but I will give you the lowdown here. If you go to the designate menu, you can see over here there's smooth stone and engrave stone. Smoothing stone will make it smooth. Pretty simple, right? Like if we hit K and we look at all these walls here, we have rough-hewn marble walls. Rough-hewn marble walls. Rough-hewn. They're all rough. Rough-hewn cinnamon grossula, whatever that is. And rough walls are fine. They're totally fine, right? I mean, you can totally survive in a rough wall, in a rough-walled room. But your dwarf is going to be happy if his room looks really good. So what we can do, just as an example, is press D, press S, and let's just pick the room that we know a dwarf already lives and, well, at least works out of. We're going to smooth our Christian's room, our expedition leader, and our bookkeeper's room. And then Kane should, once he gets off of the no job thing, there you go, he's already got the job well, it says detail wall, but that's not really what he's doing. He's smoothing the wall. He'll detail it later. But it's taking a really long time right now, and he will do both the walls and the floor. It's going to take a long time because he has no skill. But just like miners, the skill will increase very, very quickly. Very quickly. It's going to look really weird until he's done, But basically what he's doing is the graphic for all of these walls are going to change, and they're going to kind of look like fortification walls, or walls that you might construct. Like if we pop back up to the top floor, I think in like episode 2 or 3, we built a wall right here with the construction menu, and it's got that circle, and it's a maple log pillar. It's going to look the same. The graphic is using the same thing, but it's not actually the same thing. And you can see it kind of curves out. And you can see on the ground as well, it's actually kind of got this angled stone graphic. And so the whole room is eventually going to look nice and really clean. And we can set Kane to eventually do the whole floor that way, which will look quite nice. Real fast, I think what I'm going to do, since we're basically out of time, is I'm going to set DBH. We're going to hide all of this stone because it doesn't look good. I don't think it looks good. And I accidentally, well, not accidentally, but I caught all of my other items, like my door, my table, my beds. So I'm going to Shift H to go to unhide. Then I'm going to just select them one at a time. I turned off mouse select. I should not have done that, but that's okay. It's just going to take me some time. Pressing enter on a lot of these beds. I typically will try to hide everything before I do that, but I just kind of got carried away. Hit escape. Look at that. Oh man, it looks so clean now. And once all this gets engraved by Kane, and then smoothed by Kane, and then he engraves it as well, which we'll talk more about engraving later. It's gonna look so good. Oh man, that's awesome. Oh, a stray cat has given birth to a kitten. We have a new birth. It's the first birth in the fort, and this is gonna be the last thing we'll do for today. There we go. We have a stray kitten, brand new. Unfortunately, the cat is not going to stay around for too long, so don't get too attached. I know. I'm sorry. If you are a cat lover, then you come to the wrong game. This will be food later. We might let him grow up to have his own kittens first. We'll see. I'm not sure. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I'm actually really happy because the migrants came. And that's going to give me a bunch of more stuff to talk about because we have a lot of dwarves now with no jobs and plenty of things to do for them to have jobs. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Like always, if you have a specific name you'd like me to give a dwarf, or if you would like a specific job for a specific dwarf name, let me know in the comments down below. I will be glad to name a dwarf after you or after someone that you know or something like that. Also, if you have a specific topic you want me to cover for Dwarf Fortress for the tutorial mode, let me know. I know that military is a huge one, and we'll get to that pretty soon, I think, because I do need to start training up at least a few dwarves, just in case something awful happens, like a forgotten beast shows up or something like that. I don't really have the equipment for an army or a militia at all, but that's going to be coming up pretty soon, I think. And we're just going to have to roll with it. Gone are the days where you can just kind of wait years and years and years before getting military. Now, forgotten beasts or other things like that will just show up out of nowhere. So we got to be ready for that. And that's it. I'm done rambling. Thank you guys again so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.